You can't make this up. Hall of Fame coach and 11-time champion Phil Jackson claims to have stopped supporting the NBA because it became too political when it went into the bubble and was catering to certain audiences by putting slogans on the back of jerseys and Black Lives Matter on the floor. The same Phil Jackson that won championships with some of the greatest black athletes in the history of the game. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, made millions on their backs and off their sweat equity. You're sitting up watching a game with your grandkids and y'all think it's funny when justice passes the ball to equal opportunity? When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. So stop watching forever. You can't.
Oh, man. Another day, more leftists outraged. This time due to a former head coach. And I believe he was the GM for the Knicks for a little while, I think, too. If I remember correctly. I think it was the Knicks. Because I think he drafted Porzingis. Wasn't it Porzingis? And everybody was like super angry that he drafted Porzingis. But anyway, Phil Jackson, former head coach of Kobe Bryant and the Lakers and Shaquille O'Neal and all of those guys. And like I said, I think a former GM of the New York Knicks, recently made a statement, as you just heard there with Jalen Rose, that a lot of leftists are really angry about. Y'all can let me know how you feel about his statements, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you are new, and let's dive in.
Phil Jackson is a racist. In his own quotes, Phil Jackson himself admits that he hasn't watched the NBA since the bubble. And why has Phil Jackson not watched the NBA since the bubble? Because they had slogans on the floor and the baseline, and people want to see sports as non-political. Well, what kind of slogans were on the floor of the NBA during the bubble?
Yeah,
here it is.
Please tell us.
Right there, Black Lives Matter. Phil Jackson is a bona fide racist, and I'm not surprised though. Pippen had said that when Jackson benched him in favor of Kukoc for the game-winning shot against the Knicks, that he was a racist. But also, Phil Jackson had wrote a book talking about how early in his career he wanted to trade Kobe. He gave Melo $130 million and then tried to blame him when the Knicks were failing, when it was his fault.
Here's the clip of Scottie Pippen that I think he was alluding to in that last clip.
I'll say that.
Help me understand the GQ article.
For those that don't watch sports, also, by the way, Scottie Pippen played with Michael Jordan. I'm sure everybody knows who Michael Jordan is, even if you don't watch sports. Michael Jordan played for the Chicago Bulls. Phil Jackson, the guy in question, was this guy's head coach and Michael Jordan, because they both played on the same team at the same time. So yeah, just for those that don't watch sports and have no clue what's going on, he was coached by the gentleman that people are really angry about.
Where you talked about the 1994 playoff game when you refused to go back in the game and Phil set up the play for Tony Kukoc.
Well, I mean, it's not much to be said. If you go back and look at when Scottie Pippen entered the Bulls and when Tony Kukoc entered the Bulls, and who deserved the last shot of the game.
No, I understand that, Scotty. I'm just going by what you said. You said you need to read between the fine lines, and then you go on to say it was a racial move to give him, Tony Kukoc, a rise.
So, I mean, if you knew that Scottie Pippen had been with the Bulls from 87, battled through the Pistons, and every other team that we had to get to those 3 championships, wouldn't you give Scottie Pippen one opportunity to get a last-second shot without Michael Jordan? Like, 1 year without Michael Jordan. Can I get one shot? Like, I'm doing all the dirty work.
But all of that I understand from the basketball standpoint. But when you say a racial move...
Well, why would Tony, who was a rookie, get the last-second shot and you put me out of bounds? That's what I mean, racial. Like that was Scottie Pippen's team.
But
Scottie
Phil
Pippen
then,
was
but
on pace to be an MVP that year, right?
yeah.
Okay. Well, why would you put him in a position not to be successful? Why wouldn't you put him in a position to succeed? Michael Jordan is not there. So who's next in line for you?
But have you talked to Phil about this? Because by
Hold on,
saying
wait
a
for it.
racial move, then you're calling Phil a racist.
I don't got a problem with that.
Do you think Phil was or is?
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you remember Phil Jackson left the Lakers?
One of his former players accusing him of being racist, I guess. I guess it's about time that we dive into Phil Jackson's full statement that everybody was just so angry about. You know, I'm gonna give my thoughts. I'm sure you guys probably know my opinion on this, but I'm gonna give you my thoughts after I rolled this clip of what Phil Jackson actually said. Check this out.
Do you still watch a lot of basketball, or
No, I don't.
tell me about that? When and did you stop immediately from the time you stopped coaching?
No, I didn't. I watched some of the game evolve and decided, and they went into the lockout year and they did something that was kind of wanky. They did a bubble down in Orlando, and all the teams that could qualify went down there and stayed down there.
No audience.
And they had things on their back like, Justice, and I made a little funny thing like, Justice just went to the basket and Equal Opportunity just knocked him down. And somebody had another name for a guy who has jersey in the back of a jersey, had some other slogan. So my grandkids thought that was pretty funny to play up those names.
It's hilarious.
So I couldn't watch that. And the Lakers won, actually. They won that year. And
Do you feel like it just made little of the game, like it made it like a sideshow? What do you think it was that turned you off?
Well, it was. They even had slogans on the floor, on the baseline. It was catering. It was trying to cater to an audience, or trying to bring a certain audience into play, and they didn't know it was turning other people off. People want to see sports as non-political.
Bingo.
We've had a lot of different type of players that have gone on to be like, Bill Bradley was a senator, number of baseball players been representatives and senators and political, but their politics stay out of the game.
Yeah, it's separate.
Doesn't need to be there.
Doesn't need to be there. And I completely agree with Phil Jackson. I completely agree. When I turn on a sport, which I don't really watch sports very much, but when I turn it on, I want to see the sport. If I turn on basketball, I want to see people play basketball. I don't care about your political affiliation. I don't care about what cause you support or whatever, or donate to, whatever. I don't care about those things. That's not what I'm tuning in for. It is basketball. Let's play basketball. Why are you telling me what slogan you support, or what political organization you support, or I play basketball, or if I want to watch football, play football. Play football. It's honestly gotten to the point. And listen, I'll be completely honest. When it first started happening, I didn't mind it. Really didn't. I'm being totally honest. Call me a hypocrite, stupid, or whatever. But this is just the truth. Okay, this is just the truth. But when it first started happening, I didn't really care too much. Now at this point, it's just like, come on, again, really, again. Like you gonna shove it in my face again? Can we just play the sport that you're supposed to be playing? I don't care about all this other stuff. Can I just watch the sport? But apparently for leftists, that's not good enough. You have to force a message in people's face in order to watch the sport. It's just ridiculous. And like Phil Jackson said, a lot of people are being turned off by that. And I don't blame them. I'm one of them. I rarely ever watch sports anymore. Rarely ever do I sit down and watch a game anymore. Rarely ever. It's just, it's honestly ridiculous. And, the fact that people are calling this man racist because he said I'm turned off by the sport is absolutely bonkers and a disservice and a slap in the face to people who actually experience true racism. Because when you're going around and, you're throwing around these claims that this gentleman is racist, you minimize or you turn that word into something like the boy who cried wolf. Because people like myself and others, I'm sure some of you as well, start looking at it like, whatever, here we go again, racism. So when there's actually a true instance, an actual instance of that happening to anybody, now people are just, whatever. And somebody's sitting there like, wait, no, like this legitimately happened. Like, I'm not making this up. This isn't one of those other situations that they were crying about before, where somebody disagrees and it's racism. No, I genuinely experienced racism today. And everybody, whatever. We've heard that a million times. Okay. So not only is it a slap in the face, but you're doing them a disservice. A major disservice. And it's shameful. It really is. It really is. Man, I'm just so annoyed with all of this. Shout out to Phil Jackson for speaking his mind and not being afraid of the mob, because of course this is just the beginning. I'm sure they'll continue to go after him, unfortunately, because he said what a lot of people are thinking. Even if you want to take a look at some of the ratings of some of these sports. Last time I checked, they were down. I think that kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? I think this past year, the NBA's ratings were coming up slightly, but the previous years, last year and then the year before, of course, if I remember right, looking at it, they were down. So, I don't see Phil Jackson as being a racist. I don't see Phil Jackson as being mean or trying to be what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think Phil Jackson was trying to be disrespectful in any way, shape, or manner or fashion. He was just speaking his mind. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. But of course, these leftists, they gotta cry about it. They gotta cry about it. But as always, y'all let me know what y'all thought about this one in the comment section. I think it's quite ridiculous, but that's just my humble opinion. Y'all let me know. Peace and love. I'm out.